Welcome to Nip Nosh, your go-to podcast for real talk on all things boobs, bites, and body stuff. We're two healthcare mamas here to dish out equal parts education and entertainment, but let's be real. Navigating things like IVF, PCOS, breastfeeding, and postpartum life is no joke, but it definitely helps to laugh through the chaos.
Each episode, we're bringing you real-life stories, evidence-based info, and practical tips to help you feel seen, supported, and seriously informed. Whether you're covered in spit up or still rocking your maternity leggings 2 years postpartum, no shame here.
We'll tackle topics like pumping at work, body image, intuitive eating, nutrition myths, weight loss without the BS, and yes, we're not afraid to talk nipple cream and nutrition labels in the same breath.
So if you're into honest conversations, a side of sass, and a totally judgment-free zone, you're in the right place. So welcome to Nip and Nosh.
Let's dive in. Hello. Welcome to our very first episode of Nip and Nosh. How are you feeling?
Yeah. So excited.
Well, so to get started, we kind of just wanted to give a little background about ourselves and how we met, and then how we got into this profession and why we wanted to start a podcast. So I guess I'll take it away. This is so weird. Okay, well, so my name is Shaylin. A lot of people call me Shay, so whatever you want to call me. I grew up in a small town called Clinton, Illinois, in the heart of Illinois, so very Midwestern. Some people tell me I have a Southern accent, which is embarrassing. In that town, it was cool to be country, so yeah. But yeah, grew up in Clinton. I have a mom and a dad and a younger sister. Worked at Dairy Queen for my first job, and then hated small town living, so decided to move to NIU in DeKalb, which was like 2 hours away. But I had no clue what I wanted to do with my life. My mom actually filled out my college applications for me, so it was either Northern or Southern University, and Northern took me, so shout out to NIU. Woo! So moved out to DeKalb, but my major was still undecided. I had no clue what I wanted to do. And my best friend, still to this day, Brianna, shout out, we would go to the gym all the time. And they had a nutrition office in the gym. So we would walk around the track and just pass the nutrition office every lap. And she was like, you'd be really good at that. You know, you try to eat healthy at the dining hall and whatever. And I was like, okay, cool. So I literally, like, that day declared my major as nutrition, not knowing how difficult it is to become a dietitian. And I would say that's kind of how I got started. I do have a husband now. I met him at NIU. Shout out Jacob. Love you. And we recently had a daughter. It feels like recently. She's 17 months now. And it's the best. Being a mom is the best thing ever. So I worked at the hospital starting off, got pregnant, and a job opening came up closer to home. And so pregnant me went into this job interview. I don't know how far along I was, maybe 3 or 4 months. No, I was obviously pregnant. So I was like, there's no way they're going to hire me. You're not going to hire a fully pregnant person. But they did. And I think that's kind of where our paths crossed.
Yeah, for the second time.
The second time, yes, we'll get into that.
Yes.
Spoiler.
So my name's Alyssa. I'm from Plainfield, Illinois, and then kind of did the opposite. Almost moved out to small town USA after graduating college with my husband. And then my first job was a lifeguard at a water park in Bolingbrook. So I'm trying to think. So then I actually have been to 3 different colleges. So I started out at University of Iowa, and then there was a lot going on with our family at the time, so I ended up just coming back home and then going to JJC for a year and a half. And I was always interested in the sciences. I knew that I wanted to do something along those lines. When I was at University of Iowa, my major at the time was physical therapy, and then it was so competitive and out-of-state tuition and all of those different things, and I'm like, this is not going to happen right now. So then when I was at JJC taking all these science classes, and I was really into going to the gym at the time and protein and and so then I saw, hey, nutrition was an option. I really wanted to go to UIC, but at the time the deadline had already passed for applying, and that kind of sucked because then at UIC, the internship for the dietitian or dietetic route is part of the degree.
That's nice.
Yeah, so, but missed that deadline. I think I was like a month off, and I was so disappointed. So then applied to Northern Illinois in DeKalb, got in, and said, okay, move into DeKalb. And then that kind of goes into how we met originally. So yeah, we actually met back in 2017 at NIU. We had one class together. It was Principles of Food Preparation. So this is such a funny story. So when we were in the class, we were not partnered together, but we were in each of the kitchens had like 2 different stations. So there were 4 of us kind of in a little group. And I was with this other lady. And in the class, we were graded based on how things turned out, right? So like we had to make things like meringue and peanut brittle.
Biscuits.
Isn't that crazy that we were paying to have to make fudge and different things like that?
And none of my stuff turned out well, so it wasn't even worth it.
So again, paying big bucks to make little food items. But my partner, she was just kind of willy-nilly putting ingredients in. And I'm just
Alyssa's not willy-nilly.
No, I'm like, we have to follow a recipe.
And you're like a baker.
I know.
Like that's very like, you have to do everything.
Yes, and we're being graded on these things. So if it doesn't turn out right, that impacts my grade too, girl. Mm-mm. So I think I started giving her a lot of attitude. I'm pretty sure that's what happened. And she went and complained to the TA about me and was like, I can't be partners with her anymore. And so they ended up making me and Shaylin be partners with each other instead.
And I don't remember any of this. I drank a lot in college. And I've had a baby since then. But
so, and then we didn't really talk too much, just like interacting in the class. Although I did send you some study guides, which we found out just recently because you were still able to log into your NIU account.
Yeah.
And I would say, hey, type in my maiden name and see if you can
she sent me the full study guide. She's probably the reason why I passed the class, to be honest. She's the reason why I'm here today. Thank you.
So yeah, and then we did not talk after that. And what year did you graduate?
I don't know. 2020. I was supposed to graduate 2019, and then I took an extra year for reasons. But so 2020. So
okay.
I didn't get to walk in my graduation.
Oh, because of COVID.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because of that. So.
And I graduated in 2018. So yeah, we only had one class together. It really wasn't that long. And then we didn't see each other after that. And then just as she was saying earlier, then she applied to the job where I was actually currently working at. And they had said, the managers pulled me aside and they were like, hey, do you know a girl named Shaylin? And I'm like, oh no. Not in a bad way towards her, but I'm like, oh my gosh, she's going to remember my NIU days and then everyone's going to hate me because I was mean to this lady and we needed to be partnered. So, but
here I am. I'm like, Alyssa, who?
But I remember you walking in so cute, but so pregnant with Scarlett.
All I could wear was dresses because my belly was so big at that point.
So, yeah, I just think it's crazy that after all that time, then, And
now we have a podcast.
I know. Yes.
So
yeah. So, and then I think we wanted to talk about, too. So you were saying that you got or both of us got degrees in nutrition. And then what did we do, after that point?
So to become a dietitian, it takes a lot, and I was too far in to back out at that point. So you have to get your bachelor's degree in nutrition in an accredited program, DPD program, and then you have to get a master's degree. Before, whenever we went to school, it was just a bachelor's, but you have to do an internship, and there was options online internships, but you would have to be in charge of placing yourself in the different rotations that you have to do and get the experience that they require you to get. So that sounded like a lot of work. And I was already an NIU Husky. NIU had a dietetic program, so that was I was putting all my eggs in that basket. I really wanted to continue. And NIU's program is actually very long compared to some others, but the big sell for me was that you get a whole year of classes before you have to go out and do the actual internship. So you're more prepared academically than other interns, supposedly. So
Is it 2.5 years? Is the program at NIU? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was like you graduate with your bachelor's and you don't get any break. You just go right into the like master's
And
program.
did you work at the same time that you were in the
I honestly
internship?
don't know how I did anything, honestly. Like, so this was another thing. I worked at Dairy Queen in high school. Then I worked at Culver's for undergrad. So I'm just like a dairy fanatic. And so I worked at Culver's through undergrad. And then I got a job at the hospital as like a dietetic assistant, which was just the diet clerk that answers the phones and takes orders, which was great experience. But then graduated, started master's program, so I could only bartend really on the weekends. And I was commuting. This is why I'm so grateful for the pandemic. Thank you. We have to look at the bright side of things. A lot of the program was online because the pandemic happened the spring break before I graduated. So like my whole half of the last semester was all online. So that was really nice because I moved to Joliet. I don't even know what year, 2021 maybe? I don't know. I don't know if those dates line up, but I would have had to commute an hour and a half to classes, and that would have just killed me. I'm already late, and I work 15 minutes from my house, and I'm late all the time. So, yes, so it was a lot of online classes for the beginning of my master's program, but then they slowly transitioned to in-person, and that was rough.
Yeah, I think with the program, we had to be there every single day, Monday through Friday.
Yes.
And yeah, we were commuting, Jacqueline and I, from Morris, an hour and a half each way to go to the program.
For like one class.
Yep, and then we would just come home. It was crazy.
And you have to pay for a parking pass.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah. So what were we talking about?
And then so you did the internship through NIU.
Yes, sorry.
And then,
so it was a 2.5 year
yes.
internship program. I bartended, but then I also was a student graduate assistant. So I was like TAing. They would assign you to whatever your assignment was for being a graduate assistant. So the first year was me being a teaching assistant for a community nutrition class with Dr. Julie Patterson, who I love. Shout out to her. I hope we can have her on the podcast as a guest someday. But so being a TA for her in a class that I had just taken and was really like knowledgeable on was great. And I loved that. So it didn't even feel like work sometimes. And I love teaching. I loved like talking to college kids because they're just so driven and motivated, and sometimes, not all of them, yeah. But anyways, the second year I had to do like research. I was a research assistant for like physical kinesiology type thing, and so that's totally out of my realm, and I hated it. And I had to like clean data for like research projects on top of doing my thesis project because that's also required. So I'm getting off topic, but so bachelor's degree, 2.5 year program where you're not making very much money at all, and you have all these deadlines, and you have to do this thesis, and then you finally graduate. And does that mean you're a dietitian? No, you have to pass this board exam. So thank God I passed on the first try, because some people take it numerous times. It's not easy. Nutrition, as you can imagine, covers such a wide variety of fields that to pass this exam, you have to know basically everything about business, management, food service, and then the whole clinical side of it all. It's just so much to cram in one little pea brain that I was like short-circuiting and somehow passed, but...
And it's true that they changed it recently in the last couple of years too, and so it's even worse. I'm pretty sure someone recently said that isn't the pass rate very low for the exam. So
and it's not like once you're a dietitian you're making buku bucks. Like we don't get paid very well either. So you do all of this work and you go so many years without a decent paycheck, and it's just a mental toll just to work in the basement of a hospital majority of the time. There's so many different things that you could do with being a dietitian. So I don't regret it. And I still feel like I have so many avenues. Like I'm not tied down to one thing, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
So... yeah.
And I did a little bit of an opposite thing. So after learning about all of those requirements, I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. And, and we, at the time, Brian and I had gotten an apartment, and so I needed to be working. And so the thought of graduating and not being able to work full time, I'm like, there's no way that we're going to be able to afford the apartment. I need to get out into the workforce after. So after graduation, I did not pursue going registered dietitian route. And so just my first job was at my company that my dad works at, and I was accounts payable. So nothing to do with that.
Lovely.
Nothing to do with nutrition. But hey,
Did you
worked.
like that job?
No. I mean, I will say my dad, my brother, and Brian, for a short period, we all worked there together, and that's how we met. So worth it.
Yeah. Everything happens for a reason,
for sure,
it sounds like.
For sure. So then after accounts payable, started working more public health, so then went to work for a health department, and that's kind of how I started doing like the more public health side of nutrition or community nutrition. And then while working there, it's very heavy on nutrition during pregnancy, postpartum, and from kids, so WIC, kids 1 to 5. And a huge part of that program is breastfeeding. So, and a lot of people think that it's just a formula program and don't know that there's so much breastfeeding promotion and support that's part of that. And so I had just started, I think I was there a couple of months, and we had the option of taking the certified lactation specialist course. And my manager was like, hey, do you want to take this? And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. Just another way to help with some supporting families, and took it and just absolutely fell in love with it. And then we got an email saying, hey, is there anyone who wants to apply to become an IBCLC? And I'm like, sure.
Now, were you pregnant at the time, or were you going through the IVF process?
Yeah. So when I took the CLS training, that was still like a year before starting the IVF process with Charlie. And so, but then when I was taking the board exam for the IBCLC, I was 7 months pregnant.
That's crazy. And you didn't even tell us about your daughter.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. My little Chuckster, Charlie. Well, her name is Charlotte, but we call her everything but Charlotte.
Charlotte and Scarlett.
Yes.
So
yes.
Don't get confused.
Yes. And she is going to be 2 on May 31st, and I'm just not okay. But she is just the sweetest, spunkiest. Yeah, she is an angel. So absolutely love her. And this is all for her. And same thing with Scarlett,
yeah.
right? So we do it all for them. But yeah, I always say that I passed the IBCLC on the first try because she was with me. I had a second
brains. Yes, I love that.
And I had to go really fast because the IBCLC exam is in 2 parts. And so I really had to go to the bathroom. So
no bathroom break?
Well, in 2 parts, but you couldn't go while you were taking the first part.
Gosh.
So I breezed through the first part, went to go to the bathroom, and then go and take the second part. But it was very, very tough. But there's so many things that you have to do to take the board exam too. Like I had to get 95 lactation, education hours. But again, because of COVID, everything was virtual. But before, all of this stuff was in person. So I say that I was able to do it because of that. And then able to get the hours that I needed just by working in WIC, which is so cool. And because a lot of other people who take the exam or try to become an IBCLC, they have to get the hours through a hospital or their peer counselors. And so WIC has a very interesting way of being able to get that. So took the exam and then started being able to help families in the office. And
you were built for this, literally the best in town. What was your background on breastfeeding before you started working at WIC? Do you have an interest in it, or?
I always had an interest in being able to help people with that. I remember having a conversation with a friend one day, and, I was talking about how I would love to be able to work in WIC, because when I was at the different health department, I wasn't in that division. So I was in a different division, but I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's my calling. And
you were working with old people in the other division, right?
Yes.
The opposite of the spectrum.
Exactly. So the opposite. But I knew, like, that was just, it was an opening that was close to home. And so I'm like, hey, this is going to work. So, but then once I changed to that, I knew, I'm like, this is what I was meant to do. And, you know,
it shows.
Oh.
Yes, you put your whole heart into everything you do, and I love it. So I'm so grateful that we crossed paths again, and now we can do this podcast.
Well, and there's such a need for both sides, like both the nutrition and breastfeeding support. So the fact that, you know, we're able to do that together is really, really exciting.
And I think working at WIC really like opened our eyes to how much disparity there is and like a lack of support, specifically support postpartum, which is a big motivator for why we started this, was just to like help spread education and support for postpartum, prenatal, expecting moms, like all of the above.
Yeah. And so many times, too, we meet with families that we are literally their only support system. And, you know, they want to come in and tell us everything. And we're just like, sit down, tell us everything about labor. Tell us what happened. We want to know. And that's what they, you know, I think that really, really, they appreciate that so much.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah. So that, and, you know, then we're able to do this on social media. And again, I think that's a big problem, too, is there's so much misinformation on social media about nutrition and breastfeeding. And so kind of having these licenses and certifications that we're able to kind of debunk some of those things.
Yeah. That's the goal. And make it fun, and we want to be ourselves, and this is kind of a creative outlet for us as well.
And for them to know that, you know, we've been there too.
Yeah.
So we've been through the newborn trenches and all of those difficulties with breastfeeding too. And I always think I had so many difficulties with Charlie, and just if I have all of this background and I'm having difficulties, you just imagine what other people are going through. I
think that all the time, actually.
Yeah, for sure.
Terrible.
So yeah, we're really fortunate.
Well, I'm excited for the future of this podcast and what it brings, and I really want to get like guest speakers on to talk about their perspectives and like experts in the field and all that good stuff. But for now, we kind of just wanted to say hello and, you know, get the jitters out because it's so weird recording yourself. So
yeah, so and we want to cover, like we said in the beginning, just all different topics and just be real. Like, these are things that everyone's going through, and there's things that aren't talked about. And
you're not alone.
Right. And so important.
So if you're not already, follow us on Instagram because we'll be posting there a lot. On Instagram, we're Milk and Spoon Co. at Milk and Spoon Co.
And TikTok as well.
Oh, yes, TikTok. And possibly others in the future. But for now, this is kind of what we're working on. So it's kind of bringing a new life out of me because I was just stuck in the same rut of working and being a mom. And now this is kind of like something for me. So this is nice.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm excited. Thank you for tuning in to episode 1.
Yes, and we'll catch you next time on
Nip Nosh. They hate us.